Good morning. So, yesterday was a pretty much idle day, but today we continue in our mission to deploy new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go somewhere, I guess. We started the morning with about an hour or like a 90-minute session of a very noisy cleaning machine that cleaned the streets, and it's actually every other day it's like that. And what's very surprising is that it was like that even also in other places. They were like in Rishon, when I stayed at Rishon LeZion, and in Shom, in the 4 years that I lived in Shom. So it's everywhere I go, the municipality is very concerned that the street will be extremely clean. So so they send the cleaning machines for very long duration. And I must thank the Israelis that they, for the proper, how they treat guests very kindly, and it's very important for them that the street will be extremely clean where the foreigners live. So they send the most noisiest cleaning machines for very long sessions every other day. So I thank them for that. And as you know, I also I'm not only thankful. It's not just lip service. I'm also using these Nero-fueled adjusted speakers, and more on the way, in order to actually return a favor for everyone that ate the Neros. Not only Israelis. These actually is also enjoyed by people abroad. Every one of the eaters. And I hope that with further, that I work relentlessly on creating, on mastering the cloning process of Neros. So I will soon have a tremendous amount of them, and I'm sure that it will amplify the speakers greatly. So everywhere around the world, people will hear our Thanksgiving, and this is humanity. I'll say that again and again. Homo sapiens are pieces of shit. We don't need them. But the Titans, the ones they call Titans, the foreigners, they don't have to exist. There are many intelligent species in this universe. Their existence lies on whether they can move arms and legs. Just arms and legs. Movement of mouths and tongues will grant them the same destiny as their brothers, the Homo sapiens. And I feel more sympathy towards Titans than Homo sapiens, because they are the slaves, not the slavers. But I will say that again and again. I don't consider myself a Titan. I consider myself a Cherub, a different species, and I'm sure that we are not in any kind of danger of destruction of any sort. And maybe the Titans will survive, maybe not. It's up to them. And it's only the only people that can actually change their fate is them themselves. And the only way to do it is to move arms and legs, like real arms and legs, not metaphorical, not symbolical, not theatrical, like real arms and legs. Move, really move and change the position of the arms and legs from wherever they are to Israel, to rescue the hostages from the Nazi prison. No movement of tongues, mouths, speakers, horns, guitars, drums is required at all. Nothing of that is required. So what we are going to do today, first of all, I will probably try to clear some space in this room, because I can't do anything, almost anything. So it's really important that I will find a smaller bed. It will be less comfortable, but most important is science, even more than comfort. So we will find a smaller bed, and we will sleep in less comfortable bed. But at least I hope it will not be too much. It will not be ridden with might or something like that. So we continue our process of creating Neros. We will try to do what we've done before, but now in a more, I would say, even more convoluted way. Several things are currently on the menu. um, many suggested that for now, I mean, maybe it's really not the best idea to create one super container, like superstructure, and just, I mean, so separate. I mean, yeah. So I mean, we'll keep the separation, and the separation will be, I will separate it. I mean, between. Actually, there are many processes. It's not just, I mean, two containers, because I mean, there are many sub processes. But the two major processes, as I see it now, is first creation of the neurons. Physical creation of the neurons using electrolysis in a very similar method to the ones that you already seen. With the only problem is that we need to find a way to clear the foam, and actually this is not many hinted or suggested that it's not something that is unique to my process. The electrolysis is actually, I mean, it's something that is used in the industry. I mean, it's not, I didn't invent it. It's actually invented 200 years ago. I mean, in the most basic way. But then, I mean, of course, it was, I mean, developed a lot during the last 200 years, and it's still being developed actually for all sorts of purposes. So it's the idea that, I mean, of separation of something that it created along the process is actually integral to the process itself. I mean, for example, if you want to separate like water to hydrogen and oxygen, it's very, like, I mean, maybe very basic, like, I mean, something think. But and then again, you need to like two different containers at least, and you need like a tube. So constructing of something of like a container of electrolysis chambers with different like containers and tubes is integral to the process. I don't need to invent it, but I need to find a way to do it so it will fit my needs, and this is not trivial. Again, everything that you add to the construction can have a symbolic meaning, especially if it's on top, like, or if something that is on top, like on the ceiling or the top, like the top of the walls, like of the chamber. So we need to think about it, because I mean, this can change what I mean. This thing, I mean, the little robots, I mean, they don't say, okay, we understand that, I mean, you want us to do that, but I mean, you gave us a different order, but we will do whatever we think. They don't, I mean, they follow what they see, and actually it's great that it's like that, because I mean, if they started, like, I mean, to speculate about what I want, or what I think I want, or maybe I wanted to change my mind, or maybe I forgot to do something, I mean, if they start, I mean, if they started to do all those speculations, I mean, it's a slippery slope from that point to the point that they just do whatever they want. I mean, so if I want them to, like, in any way, like, obey me or follow my orders, I need to have a language, like a formal language, and I need to follow the language myself. Like, I can't expect them to follow the language if I myself do not follow the language. So yeah, I mean, there is a symbolic language, and I need to understand it in order to communicate with the news. And it's great that there is a language, even though it's a struggle for me to understand it, because the other option is just that they do whatever they want. So I mean, it's either or. I mean, either they do whatever they want or they don't. And if they do whatever they want, I mean, so they can take control over the earth, and maybe they already do. I don't know. But if I want, like, to have any, like, any, like, if at least an illusion that that I am, like, have an agency here, and they can, if not, I do not, like, I do not set the whole rules, okay? I do not tell them to, like, I do not tell the neurons to digest my food. They do it without asking me, and it's good that they do it without asking me. But, I mean, if I want some kind of agency, some kind of subjectivity out there, the way that they say it in philosophy, I have to have a language. I mean, there is no subjectivity without language that for the subject to articulate their intentions. Yes, you can understand it as a metaphor for the deplorable state of intelligence services in this world, and specifically the Israeli ones. If you want to interpret, I mean, this metaphor along these philosophical lines, I mean, you are more than invited to do so. But it's also very concrete. I think I need to think about every, like, thing that I put in the containers, because I mean, everything is, like, both practical and symbolical, but the symbolical is also practical because it is used as part of the language. Yeah, if I'm going to just, I mean, insert tubes, like, on the ceiling, which is something that, I mean, is commonly done in electrolysis chambers, I mean, perhaps the Neros might think that these tubes, I mean, looks like, I mean, like I don't know, maybe it will remind them like of the legs of a fly, or the legs of like like some kind of a bug, or I don't know, a beetle, and they will create a beetle. So we don't want them to create. I mean, not that I mean, I don't care. Like the Earth will be full with synthetic life forms, but it's not going to make me like anything, and no money. Like I mean, in the short term. So and I understand some people are like, I mean, both like in Israel and abroad have some concerns. They should. So yeah, I mean, we want them to create Neros, not beetles and like or bugs or whatever. I mean, who knows what can they? I mean, they can like a huge like. And I already understood, and it was actually very verified in the last couple of days. I don't know if I spoke about it enough, but yes, I mean, according to what I suspected and hypothesized, it's true that, I mean, the symbols should be much. It's better that the symbols are much larger than the object, because that's the way that they actually work as well. I mean, when they because they also create symbols, they create drawings and sculptures, and when they do it in a much greater like size and the things that they symbolize. They can create germs, but when they create living germs, it's the size of germs, and I've seen them moving. So, but they're tiny like germs. So, but when they create the sculptures or the paintings, and it's difficult to actually differentiate between the two in the microscopic scale, because in microscopic scales, like sculptures and paintings that look like almost the same, because it's flattened like under the microscope. So it's huge, and so yes, I mean the symbols should be larger. Even though, as I said, there is a separate process of telling them enlarge something. So I mean, you can ask, okay, so but if I want to create like a big thing, like a really big thing, like a car, for example, a real car, not a metaphorical car. Let's say that I want to create a car. I mean, I don't have the container, and I don't have nearly the amount of neurons and energy and matter. But let's say that for example, that I have everything that is needed to create a car. But I can't create like a car that is like a huge car. I mean, it will be impractical to create a symbol like mine. I'm not going to like, I mean, to create, I mean, to construct like several symbols the size of buildings of cars, right? But then, I mean, we'll see what, I mean, when we get there, we'll think of a solution. But I mean, there is also, I should remind you that there is the issue that you can tell them to make something bigger. So perhaps this is part of the solution. So they start with a small car and then make it bigger. It seems totally like impractical and wasteful, but perhaps it's wasteful to tell them to create cars. Maybe, I mean, the whole idea is ridiculous. I mean, if the practice and the symbolic language, I mean, is too cumbersome to articulate and to execute an idea, perhaps the idea is not, I mean, the concept is flawed, and maybe, like, I mean, taking the most like incredible robots that, I mean, not only that we've ever seen, but also that I think that anyone ever conceptualized, and tell them to create a dirty machine, like an internal combustion freak that, I mean, burns stuff and wastes 50% for the energy that they actually consume, and like, I mean, like, and always, I mean, the exalts, like, I mean, like gases and fumes and create frictions, and I mean, just to move, like, I mean, bags of flesh from point A to point B. Maybe the whole idea is ridiculous. I mean, maybe such machines are stupid and like and barbaric, and like, you shouldn't like tell the robots to create such machines. So, just saying. Anyway, the symbols need to be large. So if they look up and see large hoses, they can think that, okay, these are like the legs of some kind of a creature, or these are, I don't know what. So it's something that you should think about. But there are actually other ways. There are other ways, perhaps, to control the issue of and as I said, this is an issue with electrolysis in general. I didn't invent the issue. My problem is that, I mean, it's that, I mean, yes, I mean, the issue is, I mean, the robots that take command from above, it's unique to baric circumstances, but I mean, in general, separating stuff from the container is something that is integral to the process of electrolysis, because it's used many times for this purpose, or for another process which is also related chemically, which is the process of galvanization that I already, also spoke about, and also the process of ionization. Ionization is also important. Now, ionization might be the key to how to solve this issue, because perhaps I can use magnets in order to separate actually the foam from the liquid, or at least keep it concentrated. So this is something that I will try to do today. Because most certainly the neurons that are inside the container, either if they are the original neurons or the ones that are created, they are ionized. They have some. They are charged, like electrically charged, probably, most probably, and so they will be probably attracted. What's the opposite of attracted? Pushed by a magnet. So this could be utilized to perhaps maybe solve the issue. So I'll try to do it today, just to use one of the strong magnets that I have, or perhaps like combine several, to see if this works actually. This will be an elegant solution that does not require tubes, and also does not require something on top, because the magnet will be on the bottom layer. Maybe we don't even need to actually, maybe the magnet doesn't even need to be visible. Maybe if it will be just under the container, it will be strong enough. So we need to see. I need to experiment on that. So this will be the first step, and the second step will be, so as I said, something is missing in the process, and I think my estimation is that what's missing is actually not a material. Maybe, if some material is missing, then potentially we are in a bit of a problem, because you can say, okay, so maybe what's missing is like uranium. So how can we get uranium is not in itself is, inherently it's not that expensive, but governments control it. So for me it's impossible to obtain uranium, and so uranium is needed is a huge problem for me. But it's not even the worst case scenario, because maybe what's missing is not uranium but Einsteinium, or some kind of vibranium, or I don't know, one of the vibranium is a real thing. I don't know what the thing that that Wolverine is made of. What's the name of this? Some kind of neum so yeah, if this is the case, maybe it's not found on Earth at all. Maybe it's something that you can only find in the crust of a planet in the system Vega or whatever. So then but still, if it's the case, still from the point of view of the neurons, it's okay that they started to work on that, because maybe I will get this. They don't. The fact that the container doesn't have the Einsteinium or vibranium or whatever, right now doesn't mean that it will never be there. So it's okay to start working on it. If this is the case, then we are even in a deeper problem than if they need uranium. But my estimation is that's not the case. They don't need uranium, and they don't need Einsteinium or vibranium or whatever, and actually everything they need is already there. So first of all, this estimation is based on wish, but and maybe I'm wrong, but I'll tell you what, first of all, it looks like they actually created, and they look, some of and there were a ton of them, and some of them actually look, almost completed. So my guess is that they were created dead, and they should wake up, and if they are not waking up, it's like corpses that once electrolysis is over, they start to decay, like we've seen with the worms, because we've seen this thing with the worms as well, that when they start to decay if they're not alive. So there is something that separates them from being dead and alive. It's like it's like the difference between a corpse of human and a human. It's not the same. The corpse is dissolving, and after some time. If you remember, I had a similar I would say, maybe some of you remember, if you really watch all the videos and they will follow me for so maybe you remember that we had some kind of discussion that along those lines, when I first created worms in the plastic glass, the small plastic glass where I put the ring, my mother's ring, and in the electrolysis, like simple electrolysis, it was very like solid, like a solid container with sugar and polydyne and beeswax and some other materials, but that was the most of it. They like to keep it very clean, very, very clean. It's very important that it will be clean, you see? You hear? So, it was funny because I remember that I looked at inside the glass and I understand that there are worms because I've seen like sculptures of worms in it, like in my eyes. And I hypothesized it and I created even several, like I spoke about it for maybe an hour, I remember. Like, I mean, I have like long videos and that I thought that my intuition, and I don't even remember what this intuition was based off, but I remember that, I mean, I can rewatch the video, but I remember that my intuition was that these are not sculptures, but they are worms that needs to be wake up like Frankenstein. And I don't even remember what was the intuition was based off. It was maybe 3 months ago or something like that, or 4 months ago. And so I remember that I proposed also like theoretical ways that how can they be wake up, like revived, and I spoke about like stuff like something that I'm to do with electricity and material and I mean, so it was quite a long video, like an hour-long video, and after I finished the video, I just take another look at the glass and I saw them started to move, and so I just created and I posted another video and I told, okay, so the problem is solved, they are alive because they just started to move. Without me doing anything on purpose, but I mean, but something happened that actually, I mean, they started to move, and initially they seemed like sculptures, and I didn't do anything like special. So I mean, several things could have happened, but I would suggest that it's possible to wake them up, and this is not something to do specifically with material, but with a process. And I will try like to actually use magnetism today, some kind of combination of permanent and magnets and electromagnets to wake them after they are created. This will be done in a separate container. And we'll see how it works. I mean, if we'll see what we get. It's going to be interesting anyway. Another thing that I thought about, so I'm disassembling like a old. I asked my mother to bring me an old bladeless fan that from the apartment. I used it in the past, but it's actually non-practical because those fans are, I mean, getting filled with dust like in enormous like levels, and it's really, I mean, it's really nasty, and so I like disassemble it almost completely. So theoretically I can just clean everything and just assemble it again, and then I will have dustless fan, which can help me. But and even a more interesting thing to do is not to assemble it again to a fan, because actually I have a fan already here. But I thought about another thing. This is new, and the idea is to create a carousel for the Neros. It's all, I mean, the plastics are already in there. You can even see, like, I mean, we can even use like the hose, the plastic hose, as an escape chamber if we want, like, like, I mean, to have some kind of a chemical process that requires the exertion of material from the container. And this could be used as a carousel, and it's like, I mean, it could be interesting to see. I mean, there are two options here. First is to use the centrifugal forces as to see how it affects the Neros themselves, like the centrifugal forces. Maybe they can do something with it. I don't know. Maybe for certain it will. If my estimation are correct, it will cause them, I mean, to stick to to their seats, like an artificial gravity. So, I mean, so the interior of the circle of the carousel will be like, the ground in artificial gravity, like mega structures in space, which is beneficial in a way because it will keep them somewhat together. It will keep them somewhat together, which is good. We want them to be together because they work together, and when they are on the in the liquid, they can move apart. But the liquid is actually necessary for the electrolysis. So it could be an interesting solution. An interesting way to use liquid, but also to keep them together. And also could be a good way to actually create a varied magnetic field, because this thing is of course made of metal, and it's so it's made of metal and it's always moving, and there is a magnet on below. Should be a magnet here. Yes, this I guess there is like a magnet over there. But if not, we can certainly add a magnet, some kind of a strong magnet here. So we have like a rotating magnet, which is like halfway to more than halfway. It's like 90% of the way to actually create. To create a current alongside the conductor, which is could be great. In we need to think about the implementation, but another way to energize the neurons. Okay, so a lot of new ideas, and let's get to work. Anything else? No, I think it will be, that's about it.